Usually, I don't condone lying, and I very, very, very rarely. I very strict with my journalism and everything. It's 100%. I almost never shade or color anything. I'm blunt as fuck. I'm too honest, as someone will say. But it's time to fucking pull some strings. So, how about on rental applications? I just say I live with my rich ass parents, and now I got disability. I'm moving out on my own. In the larger context, that kind of is true. I just don't need to mention that part where I got disowned for being a nigger lover and spent many, many years homeless in a ditch. Let's call it an incomplete disclosure. Uh, and I did go to school, and I do have, yeah. Will that help? I don't know, but I was thinking, and I'm like, dude, um, the algorithms control everything these days, and if I can link myself to multimillionaires and big ikes, that could help things. And they could all they have to do is fucking co-sign for me. I can do whatever I want, and they won't pick up the phone. This, I don't mention it often. I don't talk about it often, but since they have me sign a quit claim to any possible inheritance, um, which fucked me in the ass, but I've had my fill of fighting for my fair share of the service dog stuff and all that. I don't count as a human being. Take what you can get. Um, and there's other avenues. Like I can still, the naked picture time he still owes me for, stealing all my college savings, to keeping my government aid, forcibly claiming me as dependent taxes, installing me as the president of one of the shell corporations and committing massive tax fraud. All that's still on the board. So whatever. But they literally wouldn't talk to me. Like the letters my mother wrote me in jail were like a paragraph on a paper. Like, we need you to sign this deed. We'll pay you this. I'll get lost. I use the phrase disowned for being a nigger lover. Advisedly and specifically, you do not understand. And since that night, and that would be December of 2003, since that night, I've not spoken to any other extended family member, uncles, cousins, aunts. And some of them liked me and some of them disagreed. There's particularly a grand uncle that told me he'd leave me an inheritance. And I don't have a way, I don't know how to check on that. And my parents were just the type of fucks that would steal it. So I don't know. But he had several, like, it was either 4 or 5 something, several PhD, doctoral degrees from Purdue University. He was a World War II bomber pilot, a private pilot, had his own plane, had his own house, had his own everything. Like, he was well off. And he was smart, and he married a ditzy girl, which was my grandmother's sister. And he was the smart one, and he told me that, you know, me and him had moments. He was like training me on flight simulators when I'm 7 years old in Michigan, and he knew I was smart, and me and him laughed at my mother and her stupidity. And I didn't understand at the time, but he actually mocked my father for his stupidity. It was just in a more subtle manner because he's not the same ditz as she is, but he is also. They're both stupid, and I mean stupid. Like, he has a college degree in electrical engineering, but he was a sports scholarship. He played basketball. He played for Tennessee Tech. You know, home of the Scopes trial in the 1950s. So he don't count. He's educated. He's a dumbass. But I don't have his phone number. I wasn't allowed to use the phones as a child. I didn't have any way to contact outside people. I didn't call people. I didn't have anyone's number. I didn't have a cell phone and shit. There was a time briefly when I was 18, I used one of my father's phones and I put like friends and phone numbers in there, and then he took the phone from me and I wrote it out on a piece of paper, and there's only a handful of people, and it was, you don't understand how limited I was as a child. But since the night I got disowned for being a nigga lover, the night he told me I could be killed, he told me, him and the whites, threw grenades through the window to kill black soldiers in their bunks in their sleep during Vietnam the same night, December 2003. On 23, 2003. No one. I don't have a way of contacting them. Now, I called, my cousins own a business, and their employees in relationship. I called a couple of years ago and tried to leave a message there and say, hey, call me back. I'm famous now, and I'm working and got my own business. Never heard shit. Didn't return the call. And I don't have any means. So that is looking up the extended family or whatever, but there's no one. Like, and I have a lot of rich. There's two sides of my family, and there is poor side, being from Kentucky, but especially Jim and Jean's relatives are really rich. One of them was an executive at Boeing that had a mansion in a seaport in Seattle, a yacht, a private yacht and a private seaport to land it at. And he drove Rolls Royces. He sent me a postcard on my birthday. I think I was 13. He had completed construction on his underground climate-controlled garage to hold his vintage Rolls Royce, which is priceless. I'm not being facetious. And these are the people that used me as a tax shield in college and stole all my student savings and left me fucked. Like, if I got food stamps, all you do is get a calculator, put in food stamps, 220 times 12, number of months in a year, times 7. Number of years I didn't get food stamps. The total something like 17 or 18, I forget the exact figure. But you subtract the total amount of money my parents let me have out of my college savings, and I would have been $10,500 better off on food stamps. And then they claim me as a dependent, which means I can't get food stamps. And all my college savings are unaccounted for. And my first year, my student aid, because of my great grades and everything, where I get some money to go to school, I pocketed it. And my father told me we had to feed and clothe you as a child, you owe us. I'm not being facetious. These people are hardcore tax fraud, thug, bitches, murderers, bigots, blonde-haired, blue-eyed German. My stalkers love them. In fact, I believe Aaron said something about trying to talk to my mother, and they're two peas in a pod. Vaccine conspiracy theorists, pro-Trump, religious, same inbred, redneck, nothings. But I'm trying right now to ride on their coattails or whatever, just fucking try to use that as a rental history so I can get my own place. Will it work? I don't know. But desperate times call for desperate measures. And maybe if the algorithms chuck that this is the address to one of their mansions. Not that was the dorms. I said I went to the college dorms before I went to back home. But I'll put the big house's address on there. Like, yeah, sure, I live in luxury. Sure. Who knows? I don't plan on being a regular landlord you don't get real chummy with. So I'm not going to be telling them about my personal life and shit. Will that work? I don't know. But I have, the rent is only midnight. I forget the exact number. It's mid-900s, like $950, $975. I can afford the place. I have savings. I have my disability. I don't technically meet the 3X requirement, but if I can shoehorn my way in here, I have my own place. And I don't really need much. You know, power, water, good shelter. You know, the rain ain't going to get on my electronics. I'm good. So, do what you got to do.